Good afternoon, YouTube viewers and subscribers. Today is an extremely special day for me. And no, this isn't a mystery box because I know exactly what's inside of it. And it's not a gift from somebody. It's something that I have actually been looking for close to 2 years, 2.5 years now. Had never actually found one for the right price. It's a particular manufacturer that is highly coveted. And so I'm just super excited about this. So, without further babbling, let me begin the opening of this extraordinary piece and see if I can figure out how in the hell it's supposed to open. It's kind of like Pandora's box here. It's got like a slotted top. Okay, here we go. Now let me preface this by saying I was pretty damn excited when I found this engine on eBay. I was really shocked at the price. I happened to think I found it right about the time it was listed because I jumped all over it at the price. According to the pictures in the eBay ad, it has a couple of cosmetic issues, but this is the first opening, so let's just take a look at this guy. Ooh, baby. If you could see my face right now, it would probably look something like this. Holy crap. That looks pretty damn nice. Yes, viewers and subscribers, I have finally scored a laser engine. Now, as I said, let me zoom in a bit here. As I said, this engine has some cosmetic issues. I did not get to see this side of the engine at all in the ad. All I got to see was this side, the top maybe, and I don't know. But anyway, so this is a Laser 100 engine. And those of you that know laser engines will probably know a fellow named John at Laser Engines, J-O-N. And as soon as I purchased this, before I even had it, I sent John an email and asked him if he could help me with this engine. I'd already been in contact with John because I was thinking about buying a new in-box laser engine, and I was trying to sell some engines to get to that point. I had, but I saw this engine online and I was like, what the hell, man, for $149 or so, I'll take a chance on it. So I sent these pictures to John at Laser Engines, and he identified this, I'm not sure how he did it, but he identified this as a vintage 1994 engine. That's when this engine was made. Now I don't know if it's because it had a single screw on the rocker cover or how he could tell, because maybe this here says something. It looks like that says 41N. I've seen some that say like J-I-N or something on there. I'm not sure because John only could see this angle and like a skewed one like that and like one sort of like this. So that was all John had to go on. And as you've seen, as I've been holding this, I haven't actually turned it over yet. Why there's this gap here, I'm not sure. Okay, it feels like it's got compression. Now John also told me that this is not the original carb that came with this engine in 1994. He said at some point in time this had been upgraded. As you can see here, this needle is bent, and that's not good. Let's see if I can straighten that out right now. Oh shit, that didn't feel good. Anyway, I hope that doesn't break. But John also assured me there are still parts for this engine available. Now, I was asking John many questions and trying to get a feel for whether I should do this or not. And I decided to do it. Actually, by the time I was sending John an email, it was too late. I'd already paid for it. But the fellow that sent this to me, that I bought this from on eBay, Mark, he seems like a really nice guy. Unlike most eBay sellers where you never get any kind of feedback or information from them at all, Mark and I had actually been exchanging some emails, messages through eBay, and he seems like a really nice guy. And he actually bought this engine. I can't remember when he said he bought it, but he actually bought this engine from the UK, and he was in Virginia. So he actually bought this engine and has had several lasers, but he never actually ran this engine, so he couldn't really tell me too much about it. Now, to me, it feels like it's got good compression. The bearings feel fine, so I don't really know. This is probably just a prelude to a box to the bench run, because I'm probably just going to try and run it. One thing I do want to do here, and this is something that concerned me considerably, actually. I'm not even sure if I've got... Damn. I don't even have a... I don't have a SAE wrench. Hex key small enough for that. Although it's weird because this metric wrench loosen that up. So here's the thing that concerns me, is that John told me that these threads and fasteners on these laser engines are BA, which is British Association thread or whatever. I can't remember exactly what that stands for, but it's a British thread. Why this metric 1.5 fit in here is a little bit concerning, but it did. So I want to pop this thing off, do a sniff test, and look at the rocker arm assembly here. So like I said, I'm not sure exactly what John was going by as far as a data manufacturer, but obviously he knows, since he works at Laser Industries, owns it. I'm not sure if he's the owner or what. It's got such good compression. It's kind of hard for me to turn it over and keep it in frame. But I mean, this thing feels like it can run right now. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a box to the bench run of this engine. I'm going to pull this plug real quick because I read some other interesting things about laser engines. I read, and there is a subscriber of mine, and that's interesting. A subscriber of mine, his YouTube channel is Ring of the Brave. I don't know what his name is off the top of my head, but he has a lot of laser engine experience. He's got several. And in his videos from his YouTube channel, and I think I've even seen this in some other reading material I've purchased or got. In fact, I want to thank Dave from RC Groups also, because he sent me a scan sheet of his from one of his laser engines, probably much more up to date than this. But I pulled out an OSF plug from this engine. Now I think that's interesting because in some of the reading I read, or at least on the Ring of the Braves YouTube channel, these engines are designed to be run, or can be run, with just a standard OS number 8 plug, a 2-stroke plug. They don't really require a 4-stroke plug, which I think is very interesting. Let's see if we can try and get a shot down in that piston. Pardon me, I'm going to stick my head in here because okay. Let me just check and make sure this is at top dead center. And it is. Okay, so that piston's at top dead center. And it's not black. So that's a good thing. This might actually be a fairly low runtime engine. I'm not sure. The thing that bothers me, I guess, is it's kind of scuffed up, and I don't know what the hell happened here. I don't know if it already had 8 holes in it. Something tells me it didn't, so then this has been drilled out. I mean, quite honestly, you know, this isn't the exact condition I would like my first, maybe only, laser engine to be in, but it is what it is, and for 150 bucks, I guess you really can't complain too much. Now, John also cautioned me about disassembling this engine because there are no exploded parts breakdowns on websites or on their instructions. And he said that, like I said, we corresponded back and forth through email, and there's quite a bit of good information there. He said, do not remove the back cover first. Make sure, if I'm going to disassemble it, to clean it or inspect it, check bearings, etc. Remove the front housing first, and maybe the head, and make sure that, I guess there's some sort of a slot or alignment mark on the crankshaft. Maybe I'll have to reference his emails, but he said make sure that's at top dead center. That way you know your cams are in the right location for timing, because there is no timing dots. There's no diagram in the laser instructions. There's no timing dots, so that if you just go helter-skelter and start tearing this thing apart, you really have no freaking clue how to retime the engine, and that's not a good thing. I don't like that at all. So I'm glad that I was in contact with John and he cautioned me about that, because you guys know me and tearing down engines and making sure they're clean. Now, this engine may run perfectly, I don't know. John also mentioned that this style carb might actually wear a bit and might actually need to be replaced or have some parts replaced on it. I don't know. I won't know that until I try to run the thing. But my initial observation is it's, you know, got some cosmetic issues. The carb barrel moves freely. It rotates nice. This prop nut is rather gnarly looking, which kind of makes me wonder about the runtime of the engine. I'm concerned, and hopefully I'm going to send John a link to this video so maybe he can chime in and help me out. I don't understand this gap here. I don't know if that's right or not. The other thing John cautioned me about was these 4 head screws. He said that being that they're British or BA, he said they're 4BA. And he said if I go to disassemble this thing, I have to be extremely, extremely careful and make sure that I either use heat or shock. If at all I feel like I'm not going to get those things loosened up, because he said there's a real shortage. He doesn't have any of these screws he can send me. I don't know that I can find them. He says all the screws they can find in the UK are really crappy, cheesy, soft ones. He says he wouldn't even use them in these engines. So it kind of makes me wonder, you know, is it time to update your tooling so that you're not using an old extinct thread? But it is what it is. And like I said, this engine dates back to 1994. So, you know, it's a nice piece of history, and I'm super excited to have it. And I think, like I said, I'll probably be replacing this OSF plug with an OS number 8 and trying to just do a run and see how this thing runs. So the next time you see this engine, most likely it will be attached to my bench and we'll be running it for the first time. So thank you for watching, and I hope you share the same level of excitement that I had for this Laser 100 engine.